Oh, we rockin' 1080p 60. Oh yeah. What's going on, guys? It's Necessarily Purple, and today I'm bringing you a video on webcams or cameras in general for streaming or recording. I've gone through a couple different ones. You can see one of them in the back right here. The other one is just off to the side, just off camera, and realistically the third one is what I'm using to record this. And I spent a good few years using the one you can actually see, and now I've spent a good year and a half, 2 years using the other one. I will get into what they both are in a minute, and I will get into how to make your camera look better. Obviously, webcams are not the best looking cameras you can buy. Obviously, there's the Sony A500, there's the Canon S4000, 5000 something, the Canon series. There's Nikons, there's proper cameras, there's GoPros, there's a lot of cameras you can go through the effort of choosing to stream, and depending on which one you want will benefit your needs more, However, on a budget, we're looking at specifically budget options. As a streamer myself who has to work on quite a tight budget a lot of the time, these two cameras were kind of the best bang for my buck at the time, or at least one of them I thought was. It wasn't. But yeah, basically, we are going to be looking at those two webcams with their raw inputs, and then we're going to be looking at how to make each of them better. So, how to make each of them look a bit more professional. So, yeah, without any more explaining than is necessary, let's jump over to the computer and see what we can do with these webcams. Okay guys, so as you can see, this webcam, this is the very low budget webcam. It was about £20 at the time of purchase. It is a TechNet Full HD 1080p web camera with an 8mm lens and manual focus on it. So there's no autofocus on this one, as opposed to the next one I will look at, which has autofocus, which you will see as soon as this has been done. However, you can see this with like the... this FPS, man. You can see this in the sort of typical lighting scenario and environmental scenario you would see it normally for streamers that would be using it. So, the room light on behind you, no face light. The PC's giving off the blue light, as I'll talk about again with the next camera. Both of these cameras will be looked at in the same lighting scenarios to start off with, and then I will look at different ways you can make it look a bit better, make it look a bit more professional, a bit nicer, just make it look presentable for your stream. Again, with the quality of this, it's very grainy, very blurry, it's definitely lower than 30 FPS. The camera boasts 30 FPS, but it's not. And yeah, this camera and the next camera you'll see are both in the positions I used them in. So this camera was in this position when I used to use it. And the next camera you will see is in a different position. However, it is in the position I currently use it in. And that gives me the best sort of feeling for my stream. Again, when you're like, if your stream, the quality of this camera with your camera being like a small portion in like the bottom right or the bottom left of your screen, or possibly even the middle center or something like that, the quality, the actual pixel density of this camera isn't going to be its biggest downfall. I think its biggest downfall is going to be its color, the way it picks up colors, its dynamic range, and its FPS. The FPS is significantly lower than the next camera I will look at. Again, this is the TechNet Full HD 1080p camera. So I keep looking up there because I'm so used to my other webcam placement. But yeah, anyway, we will jump on to the next webcam, and then I will show you guys how to make these webcams look a little bit more professional, a little bit nicer. Yeah, let's jump into the next webcam. Okay guys, this is the more mid-ranged sort of price-leveled webcam. For some of you might be able to like tell which webcam this is already just by looking. This is the Logitech C920. This is a very common webcam to see among YouTubers, streamers that need a face cam. or that use face cam. Obviously, the higher end cameras will produce better image quality, better dynamic range. But for webcams in particular, the Logitech C920 is one of the most common out there because for the price you get it for, it's one of the best. I believe at the time of recording, the price is £85. However, the average price of this, you know, without the COVID-19 price gougers, which just need to stop, to be honest, is about £50 to £60. Usually 50, closer to the 50 range. But you can already see that the field of view is a lot wider. You can see a lot more. The dynamic range is a lot better. It's not as noisy, not as noisy, blurry, distorted or anything. It has autofocus, so you don't have to worry about, like, if I were to do that and then take it away, like, it'll focus on my hand and then it'll come back to focus on my face. The last camera did not have autofocus. It was a manual focus twisty camera. I will actually show you guys that on this camera. So the front of this camera twists and turns in order to focus. So yeah, this camera has the autofocus. I believe it also has a built-in webcam. I wouldn't recommend using that. It's not the best quality. Also, this webcam does have the capability of doing 60 FPS in 720, which I will show you what that looks like right now, just in case you were curious of how to do that. Yeah, again, the 30 FPS is not going to matter too much. You can tell it's 30 FPS, but it's not bad compared to the last webcam. The last webcam was far, far worse by comparison. However, as I said, the last webcam is over half the price of this webcam, so keep that in mind when you think about the quality, keep that in mind when you think about which one you want to buy. However, we are going to jump over to the first webcam so I can show you how to make that look a bit more professional, and then once we have done that, we will jump back over to this webcam and do the same thing, so I can show you guys the best scenario to use these webcams, at least from my experience. So let's jump over to the last webcam. Okay guys, we are back on this webcam to have a look at a way to make it look a little bit more professional. So first of all, what you want to do is, this whole lighting situation is dead wrong. What you want to do first off is you want to turn this big room light off. I'm going to go do that. I'll come back when I've done that. Okay, so now that we are back in our chair, you know, having turned the big light off, you can see that we're very dark. This isn't the lighting scenario we want. There we go. So now we have a face light right on us. And this already makes the camera look a little bit nicer. But one way we can make it look even better is with background lighting, with lighting of possibly RGB lighting. If not, you could always do just plain lighting, but just something to highlight the edges of, you know, your edges. So already that green sort of sets me apart from the background. However, I like combining the green with this kind of purple to give the background a little bit of color, to give the background a little bit of contrast. And you can see this edge light along my shoulder from the green. You can't really get the tone of the green, but you can see that it's kind of hitting the side of my head, you know, the side of my chair. So it's differentiating me a little bit from the background. This side is still a little bit off, but we will come to that in the color correction. So for color correction, what we're going to do right here is we're going to be looking at some color correction. So what we want to do is we want to go over here, we want to right click and go to filters. And while you're in the filters section, you want to add a filter down here in the effects filter, add a color correction, and then the settings I like for this camera are something along the lines of decrease the gamma a little bit, increase contrast, decrease brightness, increase your saturation quite a bit, and then hue shift it a little bit over to the negative side, maybe not quite as much. And then already we are seeing a significant increase in the quality of our camera. So already you guys can see that our camera is looking so much better already. Even just adding these little things, like ignoring the blatant FPS issue, this camera looks a hell of a lot better. So let's jump over to the next camera and we will also look at that and see how we can make that look a bit more professional after the raw lighting scenario. Okay, and we're back on this webcam to show you guys how to increase the quality. So again, we have the room light on behind us. I'm going to go turn that off in a second like you just saw me do in the first one. And then I'm going to add some colored lights and some color correction so that you guys can see how this webcam best performs under sort of a more sufficient lighting environment for streaming. A more prepared stream, a higher quality background scenario. So I will get up and go turn off the room light and then come back and we will go through it from there again. Okay, we are back on this webcam. We have turned off the room light. So now we are going to go through the steps to make this webcam look as best as possible. So first off, we're going to need a light on our face just like the last time. So that is our front facing light. And then once again, we're going to turn on our green lights from the side. Obviously with this camera, we get more dynamic range, so you can see the color green on my shoulder. You can actually tell that it is green. And then we will turn on the bigger purple light to give the room a little bit more sort of contrast. You can already see the internal color correction has corrected me to look, you know, a bit better on the background. However, we can jump in and do some color correction on this camera. Okay, so now that we are here on the color correction panel, you can see that I already have color correction set out. However, this is very minor color correction that I use. I will show you guys what that looks like. So this is the color correction that I use. However, I'm going to start a color correction from scratch so I can show you guys how to sort of go about finding the best thing for you. So I usually like to turn the gamma down, you know, just a little bit. Sometimes I turn it up, but you know, I typically like to turn it down on most cameras. We'll go with the sort of middle ground of like not too high, not too low. I like to turn the contrast up a little bit just to sort of get that like real pop of the purple in the background. Same with the brightness, I like to crank that down just a tiny bit, and I like to turn the saturation up just to make sure that that purple in the background really pops, the green on the side really pops. You know, everything about the color of this webcam, I like to make sure that it pops. And then I like to turn the hue shift usually towards the negative side, as that is the cooler side of the spectrum. So I like to turn it a little bit down to the negatives just because I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is a much better looking camera already, just through the lights and the color correction and everything. So that's pretty much how to do it. You just add some color correction, change the saturation up a bit, and you can make your webcam, even the £20, even the £20 webcam, the $15 to $18 webcam, it looked presentable. It looked good enough to use. So if you guys are on a really tight budget, that's an easy thing to do. So I will jump over to the camera and finish off this video. Okay guys, so as you can see, even the lower end £20 webcam or $18 webcam, for those of you in the US, can produce a very professional feel for your stream. However, that low FPS, that very choppy FPS and, you know, blurry pixel density is going to take a hit if you have a full camera scene. That field of view is also going to make it very difficult to make your scenes look, you know, as good as they could be. Again, the C920 obviously has the better field of view, but for £20, it's doable with some color correction, some good lighting. It's obviously doable. I also used to use this in a green screen fashion with just, you know, lights on my green screen. So no RGB lights were necessary. However, these RGB lights that I use are very cheap. I will put the link to both sets down in the description below. I'll put the link to both the cameras down in the description below. And if you guys want to talk about this on my stream at any point, or, you know, see the C920 in action, see how it feels, see how it flows, on a live stream basis, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Link to that will also be down below in the description. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments or pop into my Discord, again down in the description below. We can talk about this whenever you want. Just hit me a message in the general chat of my Discord. Show up in my stream chat, show up in the comments of this video. I don't mind. I'm happy to elaborate on any points I've made or clarify any points I've made and missed. But yeah, I hope I got the point across, guys. Cheap webcams can still look good. However, if you want a better feel for your stream, 1080p 60, you can always use the camera that everyone has at hand very easily. And I am, of course, talking about your phone. You can hook this up through USB to your computer or even just to the wall charger to keep it charging. And then you can wirelessly connect it over the internet to any wireless, free phone camera software. Just do the same steps that I did. Good lighting plus color correction on your phone should give you 1080p 60 in a heartbeat if you want it. Or even 720 60. Some phones like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I believe, the Samsung Galaxy S10, which I'm recording this on, I know for a fact does 2K 60. It can also go up to 1080p 120 FPS. However, Twitch isn't really going to utilize that very well. If you want to talk about that on my live stream at any point, again, link down to that in the description below, link to Discord in the description below. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't enjoy it down in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.